You're listening to Nothing's Off the Table, the podcast where no subject is too taboo to discuss. Now, please welcome your hosts, Andy Barker and Lou Del Pree. Well, I forgot to hit the mute button again. Look at that. I messed that up. Man, I'm 2 for 2 tonight. Wow. But I've learned never to ask what else could go wrong, so I'm not going to ask that question. Welcome back, everybody. Another episode of Nothing's Off the Table. Lou, you're in a new setting.
I am. If anybody noticed the change behind me. Well, first of all, Andy, 4 in a row. 4 in a row. I just want to point that out. But aside from that, I'm in Chicago, and I've been walking around. Been in Chicago since Thursday evening, and just been walking around and getting fat. Man, the food here is amazing. The city's been nothing but fun. I've had a good time here, and just to get political right off the bat, because I know we're non-political, but I am going to make a political statement right off the bat. I know we complain a lot about liberal propaganda, but there is some conservative propaganda. While the cities may have crime problems and increased issues going on, they're not as bad as people make them out. I mean, we've had no issue here. I saw maybe 2 homeless people walking around in the daytime. I'm sure there's more. I'm sure there are. But it really wasn't that bad. We were having a great time and looking forward to tomorrow.
You are in the safe part of the city, guaranteed. Are you south side? Where are you at? What part of the city?
I have no idea. They call it. I guess it says the Loop or something. I don't know.
Yeah, you're good, man.
Yeah.
Don't go to the south side. That's all I'm gonna say. You'll find out all that propaganda is not propaganda.
I believe it. I mean, I'm sure there's sections of the city that are bad, but the sections I'm in, which would be the sections I would always be in if I lived here, don't seem to be an issue. I mean, like, we're walking down the street, we're eating food, we're seeing stores, we're shopping. I mean, my wife dropped her hat. Guy was like, "Hey, ma'am, I mean, it's just like any city. Just I think like any major city you would see, there's places to stay away from, but you can still come here, have a good time, be safe with your family, and enjoy it. And Chicago's got a lot of great food. I'm finding out.
Well, speaking of dangerous territory, let us introduce our guest, Miss Beverly. Welcome to the show. I had to get that first salvo out because I know what's coming. We've been warned. Anyway, welcome to the show. Why don't you thank you for being here, first of all. Thank you for putting up with Lou and I, because Lord knows we could be a handful. But how about telling us a little bit about yourself?
Just a little bit?
Well, we only have an hour.
Okay, the present little bit that I can share is that I am a yoga teacher at the heart of everything, but I'm a holistic well-being coach, facilitator. I take people nature bathing, forest bathing. I do craniosacral therapy. I do trauma release or tremoring. I add everything in that for me is a consideration of what could possibly be not simple, but a doorway into a better way of being for everybody and something that works for them. We've turned everything too much into this across the board. Take this diet, do this practice, do this kind of behavioral work, whatever it is. It's like, across the board, it'll work for you. No, it won't. We are all incredibly individual. And I've come to this by learning that about myself. It's been a lifelong journey. I have done a lot in my life, and I used to go hiking all the time, climbing, but I finally found yoga when I was 30 because the buses were on strike and I had to rollerblade to work 20 kilometers each day. And I was like, I need to stretch.
Oh my gosh.
I need to stretch.
Necessity is the mother of invention.
Oh, yes, it is. And then I found yoga, and it was great. Right away, I realized this is nothing to do with stretching, even though your body feels really good. It had nothing to do with that. And take that 12 years down the road, my father was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer and helped my mother for 5 months with everything going on. And I was still working, and I was riding my bike crazy long distances every day so I could do the Ride to Conquer Cancer for him as well. He passed away. I still did the ride. I went back to work, and then I did 1, 2, then 3 ambulance visits to the hospital. The third one, they kept me on the cardiac unit for an entire week at the age of 42.
Oh my gosh.
I was on the cardiac unit, and they're like, you may as well be dead. Like, how are you walking and talking? You've got stuff going on that 80-year-olds have. What's up? And they spent every day coming in with a gaggle of heart students, all staring at me, all going through all the notes. Meanwhile, I slept 22 hours a day.
Oh my gosh.
And at the end of 7 days, I woke up, looked around. They came in, they looked at all the little ticker tapes rolling off the machine. I went, everything's perfect. And I felt great. And the doctor said, well, I have no idea what's going on. We really don't know what's up, but I think we should burn out a piece of your heart. Do an ablation, burn out a piece of your heart. You might end up with a pacemaker. And I'm looking at him thinking, okay, they don't know what's wrong. I feel great. Everything's showing right. So I just said, look, okay, I'll think about this. But meanwhile, I'm going back to what I know, breath work, movement, my yoga practice. Absolutely fine. About a year later, I was hiking up to Machu Picchu. I was up in the Andes. I did a 12-day hike through Peru up to 15,000 feet.
Wow.
No problem. And I realized this is nuts. We are putting Band-Aids on people. We're shoving the biggest, most traumatic experience on them before looking at the root cause. I, in my heart, knew I was purely exhausted and heartbroken. That was it. And I took care of that, and I was fine. That doesn't mean it's for everybody. It doesn't mean that's the fix for everybody. There's going to be, again, individual possibilities of everything, but I wanted to give people the possibility that they could take back control of their lives. So I quit everything else I did, became a yoga teacher, and it's been a journey of exploring every modality, every way of being that can care for the system, whether it's through energetics or purely physical practice, whether it's food, movement, sleep, everything that is out there. There's a correlation somewhere that meets at the middle. And that's a great starting point. And then from there, each person needs to find their pathway. And my goal is to be that guide that helps them find the thing for them, not what everyone else tells them to do, but the thing for them.
Well, how do you do that? Because I was just sitting here thinking I wouldn't even know where to begin.
Oh, sure you do. You do. That's the problem. You do, but you don't know how to interpret it. So I like to look at it like this. Every child goes to school. They're taught mathematics, they're taught whatever, English, socials. They're taught all these things, but they're never. When do you remember ever being taught to learn the language of you? To learn how to actually read your own body, your own reactions, and interpret them. You're not. You're told to sit down, shut up. You start twitching, knowing your body needs to move, and you're told you better sit still or you're going to get detention. If you make sounds and sounds are really healing because you're upset or there's something going on, you're told to shut up and don't speak unless spoken to. Kids are not told about them. They're told how to align themselves with what somebody else wants so that they are still considered a good child. They're still loved. They're still wanted. And then we grow up with all those messages. And the last thing you know how to do is listen and hear, because you're always looking outside of yourself for what somebody else tells you is needed, is required, is expected. So to start, I always want people to go to the physical form. In yoga philosophy, in the Vedanta, which is on the root of all sciences, the Vedic libraries 10,000 plus years ago, each had a library based on medicine, astronomy, astrology, on science, quantum physics. It's all in the Vedas. There's a library, massive library for each. And at the root of them, there's this idea we have 5 bodies. They're called doshas. You have your physical form, your energetic form, your mental form, your causal body, the one that responds to everything. And then there's the bliss body, the thing that we aim for, but we're not meant to stay in because you couldn't function in this world. But if you don't start there, if you're told, okay, just learn how to meditate and you'll be better. Well, how do you meditate if your body's sore? How do you meditate if you're feeling crappy? If you're not getting sleep? No, you need to start with the simple thing. You know what physical form is. So, right, I've got a pain, I've got an ache, I feel tight, I feel tired. Figure out how to stand in this body. Inhabit your life, inhabit your body first. What serves you? We have this thing, my whole idea for this talk was how convenience is killing us. Well, we've got these amazing, and I mean incredibly amazing bodies. We've been told that they're out to get us, that nature's out to get us. Well, we're made of nature. Nothing about nature wants to kill us unless it's a grizzly bear. But we're living in these things, and if we treat them right, they'll treat us right. But what do? We come home, we sit on this couch that has us sinking down, our spines are rolling backwards. Now your nervous system is cut off from sending signals to your brain. You have knees bent all the time. Your hips are in position. You get into a car and drive down to the store rather than walking there. You get to the mall and you take an escalator up the stairs. Everything's convenient. We've been told that this is good for us. It's simple and we're simplifying your life, we're shortening time for stuff. But by shortening everything, we're losing resilience. We're losing mobility, we're losing motility, we're losing connection to others. We're losing all the things that actually give us our healthiest way of being. So if you start with the body and you learn how to inhabit it, how to stand in it, what works for the build of your bones, inhabit that space. Notice when your tailbone is tucked, because that's going to cause you to go into stress response. Sit at a computer. Well, guess what you need? We need different chairs. Get out of the bloody chairs and don't stand at a standing desk all day. That's not better either, to do the same thing all the time. But we need to find a better way of experiencing this. Here's a simple way of looking at it. So you're sitting at a computer. What happens? This. What did I just do?
You slouched.
Yep.
Tremendously.
I slouched. Do you know what that does to the whole of this? As soon as you slouch, you're cutting off the communication between your nervous system and your brain. When you're in this position, you automatically go into a stress response.
You're making me feel guilty.
Straighten out. Yeah. No guilt, but just instead of guilt, go, look, I want that better way of being. That's what people need to do. Not guilt, just go, damn it, I want to feel better. As soon as your head's like this, there's compression on the oral and nerves, and the nerves for your eyes. All these nerves get compressed. Well, you've got the messaging from your body comes up through your vagal nerves, comes up through the nervous system. 85% about of the messaging comes from your body to your brain, not your brain to your body. That's only 15% of the packets being sorted and message coming back down of what needs what. This is just a storage for info. But the messages are coming up from the body. Well, if your head's like this is a stress response. We move out of stress responses as infants when we gain locomotion and language. That they only have reptile brains, infants do. They only have that ability to go, I'm unsafe, I need something, wah, wah, wah. I need it.
I do that
And
now. Are you kidding me?
I know.
I do that
There's a
now.
lot of people that do. Wah. So this is what they have. But as soon as they're able, like the legs get stronger, those IT bands get strong enough to hold up legs, they can start finding locomotion. Well, when you can locomote, you can get away from the things that are scary, or you can get to a safe place. When you have language, which is the next piece of the brain that develops, then you can ask for what you need. Then you can describe what is required by you. So it's a lot easier to participate in the life around you, and it's not constant safety. Well, when we sit at a desk, we drop into this. Go ahead.
Oh, I no, you know what, I'm sorry, I mistook a pause, but what I was going to say when I interrupted, and I apologize for that, was it's funny you talk about language development. My daughter, and grew up in a bilingual house, and I speak some Japanese. So when she was around 1.5, 2, learning language, she would speak to me in Japanese very quickly. but it was too much. So I would have to tell her, I don't know. And at 2 years old, I would get a look of frustration from her. Like, am I screwing
Yeah.
with her? Because at 2, she doesn't know these are two separate languages.
No.
You know,
of
I
course
see
not.
daddy talking to mommy and daddy's talking to me. And now he's saying he doesn't know. Is he like, I
Yeah.
swear the look on her face was, are you effing with me? like
Yeah,
that would be the look.
she's looking for a safety of you understanding and knowing.
Yeah. Yeah. And I would say
No,
no.
what is this? Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, nope, sorry, too bad.
Horrible
Go
father.
run away. Go ask mom.
But it was an observation I noticed, you know.
Yeah, and see, these are all things that we forget to really look at. But so you develop that piece of the brain, and we become safer for it because we can take care of ourselves. And then once you're able to take care of yourself, you can do all these things. You can become more creative because now you're safer. Now you can express, and that part of the brain starts developing. But what is happening is we've created this world where we're sitting at tables, we're sitting everywhere, and we're compressing the nerves, and we're going back into this reptile brain. Reptile brain is a fight or flight. It is a stress response. It is survival. That is all it's about. That's all it can do. But what are you doing? You're sitting like this and now try and turn your head. You can't turn it very far. You try and look around. You can't look. Try and hear. You're compressing the oral nerves, so you can't hear well. People get tinnitus because of this. How many people do you know now with tinnitus that weren't in the army because something blew up beside them? Sorry.
Never mind.
But even so, you have tinnitus. And what's going on is you've now put yourself back in a survival response because we have our senses so that they can, oh, look, I can look around. I'm all safe. I can hear everything coming at me. I'm safe. So I can continue conversing with you. I can do whatever and not feel like I'm on guard. But no, we're down here and now I can't hear properly. I can't see properly. I can't assess my situation. So I am now in a survival response. And when every one of us is in a survival response, we can't communicate with another. We can't believe we're safe with them. So we start closing in and our world gets very compressed. And when you disconnect from community because of that, when you feel like there's always something that might come attack you, even if you don't logically know that, your body's doing that, well, things stop working. Because in a survival response, what's the last thing you need to do? Digest food. What's the last thing you need? Take care of all these extra organs. What's the last thing you need to do? Take care of muscles. We just need those fight or flight muscles ready and primed. That's all we care about, so you can get away. That's it. So what's now happening? You're creating this stress response. Cortisol starts being created. Cortisol is released into your system. Cortisol is inflammatory. It's meant to, when you get cut by that thing that was supposed to attack you, it's meant to inflame the skin around that open wound so it closes up, doesn't let bacteria in, and helps you heal. But we're not getting attacked, so all that stuff is flowing through us. We now start inflaming organs and tissues. And when they're inflamed, they can't work properly. And then it's this vicious cycle that still goes on. What's the main leading root of all disease? Stress, because of the inflammation around things. Right? And stress comes from not only that, but the food what have we done? We've created convenient food. So convenience of sitting in a desk, sitting in a couch, turning on TV, it's right there, it's accessible. I don't have to walk far. Heck, I can order my food in. Why would I have to move to go make food? It's all orderable. I've got a fridge full of food. Previous conversation.
That's right. That was an earlier conversation.
Yeah.
You know, have you seen the movie Idiocracy?
I've heard of it. I have not seen it yet.
Oh my gosh.
Is it good?
It's recently watched it.
It could almost be a documentary on society today. Real close. It's worth a watch from a comedic standpoint and kind of see where we're heading, it seems like, in my opinion. I don't want to tell you too much about it, but
yeah. Oh, I've heard bits about it, but yeah. Half these movies, they're tongue in cheek, but they're pointing at something.
Hey, Beverly, I'd like to switch gears real quick to talk a little bit about the
Yeah.
holistic and what I think you can tell our listeners, right? So just to kind of set the stage, people who may have been following politics might have heard, many years ago during a presidential debate, at the time, President Obama said that, if you go to see your doctor, with diabetes, he'll cut your foot off, when you could just take a simple pill. And I think people remember that was kind of hyperbole, right?
Mm.
But there is an aspect to what he was saying, and listeners, and then hear your comment on. There is an issue with training of physicians in that, if you're in a small area that doesn't have a large health system, which most places don't have large health systems, or they're borrowing doctors now. That's happening a lot, where specialty
Mhm.
doctors will work for multiple enterprises where they used to be an enterprise exclusive.
Yeah.
Now there's a lot of doctor sharing because of the private dentists. Anyway, that's enough of the backstory. So if you're in a town and you go see a cardiologist, right? He deals with the heart, but he deals with it from a completely different standpoint than the thoracic surgeon. He deals with the
Mhm.
heart too. So if you're in a town that only has a thoracic surgeon, yes, his solution is to open you. That's his training. That's what he does. And if all you have is a cardiologist, his solution will be to run a stint up and let's take a look. That's his training. So you're sort of limited by what you have, and and that's kind of what I'm getting at. In when we look at holistic medicine, we look at more than just the specialty. What's the whole picture here? And then people don't understand. There's a lot of questions to ask. The physicians don't corner the market. Holistic doesn't mean we're
Yeah.
smoking grass in a field and reading fairy books. It's science
Really?
based. Anyway, could you talk to the science of the holistic approach and sort of what it means? And
Okay, but let me begin with I am not a doctor. I'm not a nurse.
sure.
I spend every waking hour learning what I can about it because it was funny. One of my clients suggested I go to medical school, and I'm like, no, I don't want to get boxed in. I
Right.
don't want to get boxed in, but I go to dissections to see how everything works. I do my due diligence on stuff. And what I have found is medicine is about the parts. Medicine is about the parts. There are more doctors now who are starting to go, wait a second. We can't just look at this and not this. Like with my heart. Okay, let's burn out a piece of your heart. How about you ask me what's been going on for the past 8 months? Why don't you ask me? It's a pretty simple concept. You're looking at me sleep 22 hours a day. Yes, you're going to sleep more when your heart isn't functioning well, but which came first, chicken or egg? You know, rest and good food. So I look at medicine, I think it's broken. I'm here in Canada where everyone's like, oh, great medical system. No, our medical system is so broken. So broken. It's taken me 10 months to get like an appointment with a specialized doctor. 10 months.
Your
We
ministers
have
frequently come to New York.
oh yeah. Yep, I know. We won't go there because I will just go off on a rant and we'll forget what we were talking about.
Sorry.
But honestly, you know what? There is a good point in that about the ministers running around because they can get better care. For you in the States, what I think, if you can afford the medical care in the States, if you can afford the insurance, you have access to far better methodologies than we do. We're kind of stuck. You have to have a doctor who's willing to talk about maybe you need more magnesium in your system because magnesium helps the heart function. Magnesium helps your brain function. Maybe you need more vitamin D because it repairs your cell structure. But this is the thing that's missing in medical training. They're pressed for time. They're pushed to the edges of everything that they are. I mean, I don't know if you know Dr. Gabor Mate, but he talks about that in the sense of trauma. He wrote the book, The Wisdom of, or he did movie. They did a movie on him, The Wisdom of Trauma. He actually lives a couple of blocks from me. Like, if you haven't heard of him, look him up. His books are in 32 different countries, and he is at the top of his game right now. But it's this whole idea. It's like, he goes, I'm a doctor. I know what it was like. He goes, you were pushed until you're broken. You are so stressed, so done in. He goes, all you can think about is what the one thing you have to do, rather than what are all the pieces that you can pull together. Let's sit down with a team, all these people that have a different part to look at. I mean, like you said, and again, I don't know the speeches from Obama, but okay, they'll cut off your foot before giving a pill. Well, I'm like, why the hell are we either choosing foot or pill? Why aren't we saying, let's cut down on the sugar, let's get your liver functioning, not give you something else that's going to cause something else to go wrong. Let's give you, like during COVID, why the hell weren't we delivering boxes of good, healthy food to people rather than saying you can get an Uber to deliver you a 7-Eleven hot dog and a slushie?
There's no money in it.
Like,
there's no money in prevention.
Kidding. No flipping kidding. It's just ridiculous. We could do so much for people with the money that is spent on stuff. It doesn't matter what country, any what is considered first world country, if the money that we wasted on everything that we do was put into making sure that every person got a box full of good food from amazing farmers, we would change things. If every child was taught to get their fingers in dirt, to grow a carrot and smell it, see what they created, what they helped nature create, we would change life the way we're seeing it right now. But we've turned, if it ain't convenient,
Well, Beverly, I'll blow your mind here. There's a book called Worried Sick, written by a physician, and he does the math and points out that if in the U.S. we only pay for treatments that work 10% of the time or more, we can afford health care for all citizens. And I would just like to throw this out. 10% or more. I would just like to throw this out. About 4 months ago, a study came out about statins. Did any of you guys read that?
No.
Okay, they only
I read all the studies on statins.
Statins only work 2% of the time.
Oh, wonderful.
For everyone else, they're worthless. They're worthless except for 2% of the population.
Damaging.
Well, and that's my point is, so you have this guy who wrote this book 20 years ago saying if we only pay for 10%, things that work 10% of the time, that's all we pay for. And so if you want to try statin, you pay that on your own, but government will pay for things that work 10% or more. We could afford healthcare for everybody. That's insane.
Wow.
And it is insane. And then it's this disregard. I've been laughing recently, and not like the funniest way. There are wonderful doctors out there and researchers starting to really look at all of this. But what blows me away is how many of them have gone, well, this is what I've discovered. And I want to say, fuck you, because this has been around for, got me to say it. This has been around for thousands upon thousands of years. And everyone's like, oh, that woo-woo and that hooey and those stupid people that are all looking at all this ridiculous stuff. And now they're going, wow, well, we've studied and it's real. So I've discovered that. And it's like, well, yay, I'm glad it's out there, but come on. So what else are we still saying is woo-woo, and why, if we've already keep discovering that all this stuff, like me, stand in your body. Learn how to stand. If I hear one more person go, my back always hurts, my knee always hurts, okay, I'm going to show you how you can stand. Oh, look, you don't hurt anymore, do you?
My back and my knees hurt all the time. In fact, as a matter of fact, the only thing that doesn't hurt usually in the morning when I wake up is my eyelids.
This all started a year after he got his whore card. There's no correlation.
I thought this was a judgment-free zone.
What are you drinking?
Oh, I have Diet Coke. I'm sorry, I'm diabetic. I drink Diet Coke.
Coming now. Your turn. Stand by. Here it comes, pal.
Yeah.
Okay. If you're going to put it in you, just drink the damn Coke.
You know what's funny? You know what's funny? They changed the.
Oh, wow.
It's funny that we lost him.
Wow. Well, bye, Lou. Okay.
He didn't want to give up the Coke.
I guess you hurt his feelings. Wow. Well, that's he's never going to live that down. I promise you. Now, you say if you're going to do it, just drink the Coke. But what about for diabetics with the sugar?
None of it. Drink none of it. And this is the thing. Everybody always wants to soft pedal it. Oh, and he came back. He's figured the
I
lectures
did.
out.
Sorry, I was trying to defend myself and
We
it
got
kicked
it.
me. So I'll just take the hint and not defend myself.
There you go.
Just zip it and sit there and take it.
That's
Yes,
right.
Feel
ma'am.
like a man.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Strong work.
Is
So
it Wednesday already? I have to take it again. Sorry.
oh my God.
All right, here we go.
So your dear partner in crime here just ask, well, for somebody diabetic, if not, because I said just drink the Coke rather than the Diet Coke. I say neither. So this is the same as the Obama thing. It's like they're going to cut off your foot instead of give you a pill. Neither. But the problem is all these companies have been so invested in their profit, so they've made sure that you're tweaking that place of the brain. This is a drug. The sugar is a drug.
Oh,
All
no
of it is
doubt.
a drug to our brains. And how do you tell somebody it's not your fault, but it's going to kill you? How do you say that to somebody? It's like,
I know
well,
how.
what is the choice then?
Yeah.
I know how.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
We have 4 sound bites, and you walked into one of them.
I stepped right in.
There's 3 more. We'll see if you can. We only have 4. But, no, but you know what?
Okay.
Hey, you bring up a great point though about the diabetes and the soda. And here, I'll throw this out to you. Right, I was a horrible drinker, and anybody who knows me knows I was, and knows I had a problem with it. Right. So I always say, if anybody has anything negative to say about me, probably at one time deserved it. Good for them. I'm glad they made it through my hurricane. But but ever since I destroyed my pancreas from drinking, I find that I still am addicted to the carbonation. So I don't even really taste this. I slam it like a beer. And I think that's what it is. I think it's the missing the carbonation, my habit of 20 years of every night, all night, the pain in the back of the throat. And so anyway, I slam 2 diet sodas every night.
Okay, but that's great. So you just gave me a feed-in. Fine.
Yeah,
You like the
yeah.
carbonation. You are already ahead of everybody else. You're understanding what it is that you're actually wanting. Get a soda stream.
That's
Add the
not a bad
bubbles to
idea.
your water.
Like a tonic water or something.
Just get you get soda stream. They're wonderful, delicious flavors that are not sugar filled, and you have your carbonation. There you go. You found for you what could possibly help you step away from that. Because that's the biggest problem. We've allowed companies to get people stuck on all these things, and we give them no possibility of stepping away. We don't give them and find them the things that'll help them step away. We just blame them. It's like, are you kidding? We blame everybody. It's like, there's no blame on whether it's weight, whether it's being ill, whether it's, the things that you choose, because all you're bombarded with, all you're told your entire life is this is making you happy. This will make you good. And what happens if you're not happy? You want the thing that might make you happy. And who's really truly knows what happy means anymore? Happy has been tied into what things you own, what you have, how much you have, when can you go on vacation, what can you do? It doesn't come to the point of when you sit and you look at the people in your life, could you just go, oh, wow, I'm just so happy. No, I go sit under trees. I'm happy to sit with a tree. Holy mackerel.
You say that.
Sorry, go ahead.
I go camping all the time. For that reason, that's where I recharge. When I get too much here in the real world, I'll just load up the trailer and I'll go, and then I'll stay out for a couple of days, maybe a week, maybe a little bit longer. And it's recharging. Oh, look at that. Another bot coming in the chat. That's wonderful.
But.
Yeah. But anyway, I'm sitting here, I'm practically sweating because there's so many things that I want to say to lose comments, and I'm trying to behave. It's hard to keep, I'm trying.
Probably trying to wants to tell stories of how terrible of a drinker I was.
No, some of the other things, but anyway.
Thank God.
I like that you brought up camping, because that's another doorway. you go camping. What that is forest bathing. Your wife is Japanese, so she probably knows what Shinrin-yoku is.
Oh,
Shinrin-yoku is the
maybe.
origination of forest. Ask her. It's forest bathing. And the Japanese have spent decades studying this. They have spent decades, and they've realized the benefits of nature are so massive to depression, to stress, to health, to immune systems, that they have built parks within cities that people are required to go to. People get 3-day vacations in these forests to go and literally just be there, absorbing the air, being in that quiet, being with nature, because nature not only has all these compounds and chemicals that we need to breathe in. So you stand under certain types of trees, you're getting all these chemicals that boost your natural killer cells. Your natural killer cells are what strengthens your immune system, kills off diseases that come in. What were we told during COVID? Go stay inside, lock the door.
Yeah.
Don't go out into a park. You get so much from nature, and it calms the nervous system. Your immune system boosts, your heart functions better. 3 days in the forest will give you 3 weeks build up, like massive increase in natural killer cells. But you can go camping. What can somebody who doesn't have much money, who's struggling to make it in a city, what do they have that can get them out camping? They got nothing. But where do we build real good parks that they can go to, where they're provided space? Or how many places actually offer, say, buses that will bus children out to the forest and bus them back in? When we know, like there's decades of research on this. We know the benefits of what this is, but it's not convenient. It's not convenient, and they need to do this, and they need to do this, and they need to go to work. People should be given this time. I take groups that we do yoga. When COVID started, I'm like, awesome. I've been wanting to get you all outside. You said no, but now you have no choice. So we're going outside, and we go to a park that's near my place that has Douglas firs and broadleaf maples. It's a forest. And they're like, well, what about when it rains? I'm like, great. What about when it snows? Perfect.
Get
And
wet.
we went out, and they love it. They love it. They don't, we're out in the snow, and they're just going, this is so much fun. Like, it's beautiful. And they feel good. And it really changes their day, changes their time. Plus, they're connecting and socializing. Any retreat I run, I take people out in the forest, silence, to meditate, to just be with the trees. And, I've got bankers who have heard the trees talking back. At some
We
point,
call that
need to find
schizophrenia. It's okay.
Okay.
We can treat it.
I know,
But
with love.
so do you teach meditation also?
Yeah. In fact, I even started again during COVID. A friend of mine down in Silicon Valley, he and I'd met on an online conference, and we put together an online meditation conference for people, because we just said this is so needed, and everything needs to be paid for these days. So the conference is free, and we try to do it every year, and we put up meditations all the time, because it's really, again, you need to first be able to figure out how to inhabit your body. Is it time?
What was it?
No, that's my sugar alarm was going off.
What was it?
It's 2:55. I just came back from-
255.
Yeah.
Good
all right.
God, son. Go take some insulin.
Oh,
I
wait.
did.
How long from the drink was that?
Oh, not from the drink. I ate dinner and came, back here, and I never injected at dinner. I should have.
See how
I'm
you are.
I'm a horrible diabetic because I'm a type 3C. So my body regulates itself, but not before damage will be done. So basically what the doctor was telling me was I can pass out from a low glucose, and my body will break down its own sugar, and I'll wake up. But going low to the point where you have to pass out is damage done already. Like, so you should never do that. They said, so same thing. Like so I have to inject like a type 2 diabetic, but my diabetes is called type 3C.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's a conversation for another day, because that's a really big conversation.
It is. But here's what I want to tell you real quick before I forget. What did you want me to ask my wife? Because I have to type it down. And if I don't type it in, what is
Shinrin
Shin?
Yoku. SHINRINYOUKU.
Got it. This is the same woman who Andy and I, we both do Brazilian jiu-jitsu. And I came home to she's not second generation, right? She's born and raised in Japan. So I asked her, what is katagatami? It's a move. I said katagatami. She said, huh? I said katagatami. Huh? I said katagatami. Do you mean katagatame? Are you effing serious? You just did that to me?
Are you sure is she from Quebec City or something?
She was like, right? She's like, do you mean katagatame? And I was like, oh, I see where this is going. This is what I mean. This. What do you call this? This is what I should have said. What do you call it when this happens to you? That's a anyway. No, but no. I'll ask her. She does pay attention to a lot of that stuff. And you bring up Eastern medicine. That's kind of what I was referring to when I talked earlier about holistic medicine. Is that as patients, and we are patients along with people listening. But as patients, we have to know it's okay to ask questions. It's okay to question your physician. It's okay to ask for second opinions. Now, if you want to see behind the curtain, I worked in the world of second opinions. In the hospital I worked in, no doctor from another hospital was going to tell us what we can do here. Okay, so that was trash. You can get any second opinion you want. But what I'm saying is, it's important for you to get second opinions for your own education. It's not to force others to do what you want them to do. That'll never happen. But if you go for a second opinion for your own education, yes, go get that. Understand options. Step outside medicine and look to holistic Eastern approaches. Further Western approaches for those types of things.
I'd like to go deeper with that.
Please.
One more level.
Please.
Yes, go for a second opinion, but there's a couple things that prevent that I see preventing that. If you don't know how to trust that language I was talking about in your body, you don't trust it. You trust the person in front of you, even though something's going, but that's not it. That's not it. And I know that's not it. Or this is wrong. How many people do you know, especially, and I hate to say it, but women, because for a long time, most doctors were men and they have a different physical experience of things. It's like, hysteria, whatever. Just, it's probably that time. So women got very used to ignoring their bodies. Menopause, don't talk about menopause because it's like, oh, you're just crazy because you're menopause. It's like, no, there's an entire hormonal imbalance going on. But we've been taught that a second opinion is great, but how can you do that without trusting yourself? And then we're also told that we're all supposed to just bow down to anyone who hierarchically we've created this power structure to. So I was taught you don't question a doctor. They know more than I do. You know how long it took me to get comfortable saying, yeah, no, I don't agree with that. And
I do it all the time.
I know what I'm feeling. Yeah. But
all the time.
People don't. Yeah.
It's
needed. So
sometimes I do it for comedic value, but I question them all the time.
Oh, I'd love to be a fly in the wall.
Oh, I don't. I'll tell you a quick story. It's completely not related, but I had this doctor that I worked for, and he was a Southern gentleman all the way through. Very, very, very conservative. He unfortunately lost his wife to cancer, so every day I'd work on him a little bit. I just want to smile or something, and. Finally, I got him out of his shell, and he started kind of messing with me a little bit. Well, it was my turn for my annual exam. He brings me over to the exam room, and he tells the attendant there, he says, all right, now you tell him to go in there and get naked. He says naked, not naked. You tell him get naked, and I'll be back in just a minute. Well, it was a young lady. I told her, I said, whatever you do not come in to this exam room, no matter what. So I stripped down completely naked, and I'm on the exam table like this. And when he walked in the door, I said, hello, doctor. I've been expecting you. He turned bright red, ran out of the room. But he came back like a minute later laughing his butt off and said, thank you. I really needed that. I said, well, I don't know. You're probably scarred for the rest of your life, but...
To steal one of your lines, he actually came in and said, that looks like a penis, only smaller.
Well, genetics is a bitch, I tell you.
I stole it. Andy said that to me first in a locker room.
But, small, but it's cute. What do you want? Leave me alone.
But back to health, though. I really do think, like you said, you bring up an excellent point. People don't know. It is an authority figure. I remember my father telling me, Louis, my father was born in 1935. I'm adopted, so they're much older. But I remember him telling me, you don't sue the doctor. Even if he makes a mistake, you don't sue the doctor. He's there to help. That was that old school mentality. That he's there to help. And you know what? I'd even get a chance to say probably in 1940 and 1950 he was.
Yeah, doctoring was a lot different then.
But now they can't even do anything unless the CDC puts out a guideline. They've lowered the standards so much they don't think for themselves. I was not aware of this, but during COVID, there were physicians in America that refused treatment because the CDC didn't put guidelines. They said, no, there's no guidelines. I'm not treating that. To avoid liability.
Yeah. It's come to a almost a mother may I practice of medicine nowadays.
It's that one, like you talked about, Beverly. One size does not fit all, but they're trying hard.
No, but that's why we have to start. I mean, I work with adults. I work with people who have lost connection to themselves, but I really think where we need to go is to kids, to teach them to trust themselves, to learn about themselves, to understand what they feel and experience so that they can be sort of the master of their life. Right now, we have a lot of people who are not masters of much of any part of their life. And I'm going to share something I didn't share, a little bit of the story. So my father that year, he died of pancreatic cancer. My sister this April, at the age of 60, died of pancreatic cancer. My mother has had breast cancer, among other things. I've got a very small family, uncle who has got heart condition, diabetes, lost some of his toes already. My aunt who has Parkinson's is confined to a bed. It's this thing that's happening that doesn't need to happen. I am 57. I am healthier than I've ever been in my life. Even though I was on the cardiac unit, even though all these things went on, because I decided to learn about me and take the power back. And it's amazing how many people tell me I don't know what I'm doing, and yet I'm doing way better than most. And I think that's a really sad statement where the convenience of life is killing our resilience. And resilience isn't just how we bounce back from stress, it's how we repair our bodies. Resilience in our tissues. You need to stress your tissues, which means go for a walk, go for a run, hold some weight. You don't have to go lift a barbell. Put 5 pounds in each hand as you move around, and that's stress that your body's not used to. Nothing has to be big and unattainable for anybody. But convenience is telling us not to bother. It basically, in its own way, is telling us we're not worth it. And somewhere inside that message has been taken up by people say, well, I'm not worth it, so I'll just do this. And I really think, that moment on the cardiac unit, I was like, wait a minute, this is nuts. This is really crazy. We are all worth it. Every single person is amazing. You don't have to like the person beside you to believe that they're worthy of having a way better life. And I wish to bloody God the people with the money would start acknowledging that and caring for each individual the way they should be cared for. And until that happens, it behooves any of us who have even a glimmer of understanding of ourselves and life to at least offer some support to somebody that we know, somebody we don't know, and just lead by example. Become your best self first. And guess what? The ripple effect will be amazing.
I really, really dig your enthusiasm for that. Unfortunately, I don't think it'll ever happen. The money aspect, people, money rules everything, really.
So, yeah, exactly. So Monsanto, you know who Monsanto is, right? Or was.
Oh, sure.
They got sold to Bayer. So they had it written into their business plan that if 16% of farmers went organic, they would lose their ability to maintain the business as it was, to do what they do. So 20 years ago, it was like 2%. The last time I heard, which was about 5 years ago, it was up to almost 10%. All we need to do, and we might even be close to it, is reach 16%. There's a reason they sold out to Bayer, because they were losing lawsuits left, right, and center. And then Bayer lost the exact $63 billion amount that they put into Monsanto.
It's too bad
has
Bill
it
Gates is
ended
buying
all of
all the
that?
farmland.
No. Well, yeah, no kidding. But yeah, but there is a possibility. All you need is one person and another person. We are nature. Nature has a mycelial network under the earth, under that soil. There's this mycelium. And all it takes is a bit of mycelium to start to regrow in a place that's been damaged, and it starts to spread. And it starts to spread, and it grows networks, and it grows communities, and it reaches out. You need the starting point. That's all you need. And do you know when a lot of that mycelium goes is when a fire has burnt through everything, when a forest fire has gone through, when something big and stressful has happened, that's when that stuff kicks off and it heals everything. We're going through that. We've been through it. We're going through it. That big stressful moment. Yeah, it's going to take a lot and a long time, but I see it changing and growing. I see it. I see the network happening, and it doesn't go from the big moments. That ain't going to happen. So instead of waiting for all of them, we all just create that space for something different, and it cannot help but connect and travel outwards.
Beverly, I'll throw this out there to you, along the lines of what you're saying. In the special operations imperatives, it doesn't talk about guns, bullets, or equipment. Those aren't mentioned. What is mentioned twice is relationships and political lasting impacts. That's mentioned. Relationships are important, and they are what will change the world, not the gun. The gun is a tool. The gun is a tool.
That's
the relationships
for sure.
are what will do it, and that is why it's mentioned.
Hearts and minds.
Yeah.
Consider the lasting political impacts of actions, and gosh, I forget the other one, but yeah, I mean, build relationships. Yeah.
There you go.
Look at that. Guess what time it is? It's that time. It's time for our Veterans Helping Veterans segment. And I am not one to throw anybody under the bus, but since Lou dropped the ball,
I did.
excuse me. Excuse me. I'll go ahead and I'll cover one. Actually, I just had this sent to me 2 days ago by somebody, and it's the Patrol Base Abate Foundation. And their mission is essentially to honor the legacy of Sergeant Matthew Abate, United States Marine Corps, and I hope I'm pronouncing that name right, by providing warriors space to recalibrate inside the wire and community to thrive outside the wire. So they have a lot of property. I believe it's up in Montana, and a lot of programs for veterans to get together and do exactly what we were talking about earlier, getting out into nature and recharging and getting back to yourself. It's a great organization. I know the individual that sent it to me wouldn't send me anything. Oh, look at that. Ricardo Tubbs joins the room, and just like a blister, he shows up after all the work's done. But anyway, yeah, it's a great organization. Check them out. And if you can help them out. If you're in need for yourself, then I'd say get in contact with them. But if you want more information, then get in contact with us here at the show, and we'll be happy to get that information for you. No point, just pointing out facts. But anyway, Miss Beverly, it's been an extreme privilege and honor to have you out on the show tonight, and would like to get you back for more because I'm sure I'm speaking for Lou. I learned quite a bit tonight. It's a fascinating topic, and it's one that we don't always think about, but we probably should a lot more. But I will give you the floor and let you have the last word.
Well, first, let me thank both of you. I wasn't quite sure what to expect of you both, but I really love the energy you put into this and the amount of knowledge that you already have about what I'm talking about so that you could pull on the strings and turn this into a conversation that I really enjoyed. My only last words are, I want to make this important. For anyone that's listening to this, really trust that you are worth something different. Absolutely believe it. I don't care what anyone else has ever told you or what you believe. I know this for sure, that each one of us chose to be here in life so that we could see something beautiful and different, not to experience hell. Hell is a construct. It's the name of some Norse goddess. It isn't a dark place. The darkness is simply a way to build resilience and move through. And wherever you are in life, you get to choose from this moment. And if it's not this moment, next moment, or the next moment, whenever you're ready, a different way of being. And it starts with just get up and walk out the door, walk around the block. Smile at somebody the next time you're walking by a stranger and see what happens. When you go to reach for that one thing that you're so used to having, take just 1 second, one breath, and go, wait, why am I doing this? All right, I don't really want it. It's just conditioning. And in all those little steps, you find something big happening. It doesn't require you doing the big thing first. The big thing is a creation of all the small things, just like a mosaic. So start with whatever the smallest thing is that you are capable of doing today, and things will be different.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Lou,
Thank you.
anything that you want to impart on us before we get out of here?
No, it was wonderful talking to you, Beverly. And I guess to everybody listening, remember, you're your own best advocate. Don't forget that.
That's right. Well, again, thank you so much. And for everybody listening, we will see you guys next week. Bye-bye.